I'm Andrea, and sitting across from me today is Noah.
Hey.
What do you think of our new intro? We thought maybe we should make our videos a bit better.
Yeah, our videos look like they were posted in 2012, but this is a bit better. Super excited for this one. We've got a pretty cool topic to dive into.
Yeah, so we're talking about Avatar Legends, the fighting game. And I have to say, when this was first announced, my immediate reaction was like, bruh, another licensed game trying to cash in on nostalgia.
Oh, come on, that's a little harsh right out the gate. I mean, I get where you're coming from because we've seen so many licensed fighters that just don't land, but this one feels different to me.
Different how, though? Like, I want to believe it's going to be good. I really do. I grew up watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's one of my favorite animated series of all time. But I've been burned before, you know?
Oh, totally fair. But here's what got me excited. The game is being developed by Gameplay Group International, and they've got some people involved who actually have fighting game pedigree. Like, there's real talent behind this project from what I've read.
Okay, but here's the thing. The development history on this game is kind of messy. Like, the rights changed hands. It went from Maximum Entertainment to Gameplay Group International, and that whole transition raises some red flags for me. When a game changes developers mid-production, that's usually not a great sign.
You know what? That's a valid concern. I won't pretend that's not something to keep an eye on. But let's talk about what they've actually shown us, because I think the trailer footage looks genuinely impressive.
Fair enough. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, Avatar Legends is a one-on-one fighter that really captures the look and feel of the original series. They showed it off at New York Comic Con in 2025.
And the animation looks so clean. Like, they really nailed the aesthetic. Doesn't feel like they just slapped some generic fighter together and threw Avatar characters on top. It actually looks like it belongs in that universe.
I'll give you that. The art style does look authentic, but let's talk about the roster, because this is where I start getting a little nervous. At launch, they're only doing 12 playable characters.
12 isn't terrible for a fighting game at launch, though, right? Like, that's a decent starting point, and they've already said there are 5 more coming in the first year through their seasonal roadmap.
12 plus 5 in the first year, sure. But think about the massive roster that Avatar has. We've got characters from The Last Airbender, The Legend of Korra, and some other stuff from the expanded universe.
That's true, but I'd rather have 12 well-designed, balanced characters than like 25 that feel rushed. Quality over quantity, especially for a fighting game where balance is everything.
So let's talk about what makes this game mechanically unique, because they've got some interesting systems in here. They've got this thing called the flow system.
Yes, the flow system is what really caught my attention. From what I understand, it's all about movement-driven combat. So it's not just about standing still and throwing out combos. There's an emphasis on how you move around the stage and how that ties into your offense and defense.
Right, and they've also got this support-based combat system where you choose support characters that can influence your fighting style and unlock special moves. It's a tag team element,
which makes so much sense thematically. In the show, characters are always fighting alongside their allies, working together. Having a support system that lets you bring in other benders for assists or enhanced attacks just feels right for this franchise.
In theory, yes. My concern is whether it'll feel balanced or if it'll turn into a situation where certain support combinations are just way too strong and everyone gravitates toward the same meta.
That's always a risk with any fighting game, though. Every competitive fighter has top tiers and meta strategies. The important thing is that the developers are responsive to feedback and willing to patch things when they're out of whack.
Speaking of competitive, let's talk about the online infrastructure, because this is actually one area where I'm cautiously optimistic. They've got proprietary rollback netcode.
Yes. For anyone who doesn't know, rollback netcode is basically the gold standard for online fighting games. It makes online matches feel way more responsive and smooth, even when there's some latency involved.
And they've confirmed full crossplay across all platforms. So whether you're on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, or PC, you can all play together. That's really important for keeping the player base healthy and making sure matchmaking doesn't take forever.
Pretty much hitting all the major platforms, which is smart.
Yeah, broad platform availability is good. Now, let's talk about game modes, because I think this is where the casual audience and the competitive audience might diverge in terms of excitement.
So we've got the standard stuff, versus mode, both online and offline, ranked and casual online play, training mode, combo trials, but what caught my eye is the story mode.
The story mode is apparently an original canon narrative set in the Avatar universe. And that's interesting to me because it suggests they're not just retelling the show's stories. They're adding something new to the lore.
Which is really cool for fans.
The voice acting, the dialogue, it all has to feel authentic to the source material. Otherwise, it falls flat.
True, but I'm optimistic. The fact that they're calling it canon suggests they've worked closely with the Avatar creators, or at least have their blessing on the narrative direction.
There's also an art gallery mode, which is a nice touch for fans who want to see concept art and character designs. It shows they're putting some love into the presentation.
Absolutely. And the arcade mode is a staple of the genre, so that's good to have for people who want that classic single-player fighting game experience.
So let me ask you this. If you had to pick one thing that makes you most excited about this game, what would it be?
Honestly, combination of the art style and the hand-drawn animation that genuinely looks like it belongs in the Avatar world, paired with solid online infrastructure. That's a winning formula for me. What about you? What's your biggest concern?
My biggest concern is the developer situation. The messy development history, the changing hands. It just makes me worry about whether the final product will be polished and complete at launch. I don't want another case where a game launches with potential but feels half-baked.
That's totally reasonable. But here's the thing, we're less than a month out from release at this point. There were major red flags. I feel like we'd be hearing more about them.
Unless they're being smart about their marketing and only showing the polished stuff.
True. But the community reactions I've seen so far seem genuinely positive. People who've had hands-on time with it at events seem impressed. The general sentiment is cautiously optimistic, which is a good sign.
I'll admit, that does make me feel a little better. Okay, so let's talk about who this game is for. Because I think it's trying to appeal to both casual Avatar fans and the fighting game community.
The support system adds depth for competitive players who want to optimize team compositions, but it's also intuitive enough that casual players can just pick characters they like and have fun with it. Plus, having a story mode gives casual players something to work toward that isn't just getting bodied online by veterans.
That's a good point. So final thoughts before we wrap up. What's your overall expectation heading into launch?
I'm genuinely excited. I think this has the potential to be one of the better licensed fighting games we've seen in a long time. The art is gorgeous, the systems sound interesting, the online infrastructure is solid. I'm picking it up day one.
I want it to be good, I really do. But I'm gonna wait for some reviews and community feedback before I commit. I think that's the healthy approach with any game that has a complicated development history.
Totally fair. And honestly, that's what we'd recommend to listeners too. Do your research, watch some gameplay, and make an informed decision.
Absolutely. Thanks for hanging out with us and talking about Avatar Legends.
Thanks everyone. If you've got thoughts on this game, let us know. Are you picking it up day one like me, or are you waiting like Andrea? Let us know in the comments.
Until next time, this has been NPCs with Microphones.